Hey y'all. So I don't usually review Dark Side of the Ring episodes, and this is probably the apt one I review to be honest. But I wanted to talk about this episode here. I don't remember the exact title of it, but it was about grizzly myths and the myth family. And oh boy, this don't take this the wrong way when I say this. Some episodes Dark Side of the Ring you want to watch again. Some episodes are kind of fun and interesting and easygoing. Again, don't take it the wrong way that I've said that. But in comparison, this episode, it was just sad. It was just sad and hard to watch for the majority, if not all of the episode. So, needed to say, this is one episode I will not be revisiting. I will not be watching again. Really miss. I probably heard the name mentioned once or twice throughout my time as a wrestling fan. I didn't know too much about him. Definitely didn't connect him to Jake Roberts and his other family that he had. Needless to say, after learning about what he did and watching this episode, not only had I wish I had heard of him, but I wish he hadn't really existed and there had been another way for Jake and his sibling to be born into a happy home, a stable home. But he did. And like I said, I didn't really know much about Grizzly Myth. I was warned that it wasn't gonna be easy to watch. I was warned that it was gonna be graphic, it was gonna be, I mean, the guy I heard that from didn't go into too much detail, but, but I was warned of that. And this didn't, it, like I say, it was hard to watch from beginning all the way to the end. Even though there's a little speck of light in those few ending scenes, the majority of it's just heartbreaking. It's now I'm not a dad, I'm not a parent, I'm not, but I mean you don't have to be one, Roy, for this episode to get your beard boy in, and you don't you don't have to be one the one to protect innocent lives and everything. I'm not. This isn't gonna be a full-on review, probably, but there's other YouTubers that can do that much better than I can. But I do I do recommend watching the Grizzly Myth episode. Not that it's good, not that it's an easy watch. I mean, from a production standpoint, I guess you could say it is. It is good, but not that it's an easy watch, but I do think it's a necessary watch. It's necessary to understand psychology, maybe some psychology behind Jake Snake Roberts, his siblings who, I'll be honest, I haven't really heard of his siblings as much as I've heard of him. maybe I've heard the names mentioned in passing once or twice throughout the Resident community, but I didn't know nearly as much about a sibling as I did about him. But this said an awful yada yada on the siblings that a dynamic and just what a gummy, awful, manipulative person that Grizzly Smith was. He was a good wrestler from what I understand it, but he was a horrible person outside the ring. What you do in the ring, if you do something terrific outside of it, that will always overshadow the work you've done in the ring. But I do, like I say, I do think it's a necessary watch. Well, I'm not even gonna say it's a necessary watch, but it is a very interesting, from a psychological aspect, it's maybe the best episode they've done from a psychology aspect. But if you want to understand more of human psychology and maybe more about Jake the Snake Roberts, his character, and maybe come to grips, maybe understand some of the reasons for the addiction that man has gone through. Because that man has had a load of addictions. This says the perfect light on that as to why he struggled with certain addictions. Now, I'm not saying he wouldn't have struggled with addiction if it hadn't happened, but it certainly makes a lot more sense now why maybe he was so heavily dependent on those addictions when others just did it for kicks. Like you have your Shawn Michaels, you have your Diesel, you have your Dynamite Kids. Just it says a lot of light and paints a very real answer. Hey, there's some people who feel like they need the drug to erase the memory or erase something tragic that happened in the past. Cause give you a little bit of sensitivity and a little bit of context, maybe not to lump all those drug addicts together into one pen, because they're not all people get into things for different reasons, honestly. And this episode paints a pretty good picture of that. And if I went through what these kids went through, I can tell you I wouldn't be a drug addict today. I mean, I'm a pastor first and foremost, but even that, I can't tell you that I wouldn't be a drug addict or anything today if I had to deal with what that family went through. So, guys, thank you for listening to my little rant, my little review about the Dark Side of the Ring episode. I guess this is probably the last one I'll do, but I just felt I had to come in and say something about this episode indeed. Cause it was hard. It was just a sad watch, right from beginning to end. So if you watch it, be forewarned, it is not for the faint of heart. Especially if you have a tragic past yourself, it is not an easy watch. Even for someone who grew up in a stable home, it's not that easy of a watch. But like I say, I just felt I had to come in here and say something about it. Take care, guys. Have a good night.